Welcome to another edition of the Let's Be Frank show. It's been quite some time since we've done it, and I'm going to ask right now to start the show off, if people are interested in being on the show, you can either call Totoket TV or you can check the Totoket Times. Email me, my phone number's in, and we do look for guests, and what we look for is people who can come on and inform the public. It's not an advertising deal where you come on and you say, you know, I own a pizza parlor, come to my pizza parlor, I'll give you two for the price of one. It's basically an informative show. Hopefully you're informed, or I'm not doing my job. And we'd like to let the public know different aspects of our town. Maybe heads of town commissions maybe can come on, or volunteers who run the Mothers Club, the ladies, Northford Ladies Club, the North Branford Ladies Club. Anybody who can inform the town of things that are going on in the town that will be pertinent to our residents. Look in the newspaper and call. It's very difficult to get guests, and which is why we probably haven't run a show in a few months, but we're back for the new year, and every year we usually do something with the state of our town, and today I'm here with our mayor, Anthony Candelora. Welcome aboard.
Thank you for having me.
He's a familiar face to the show, and in a couple of weeks we'll also be taping Superintendent of Schools Scott Schoonmaker to tell us what's going on in our schools as well. So hopefully we'll get through the next month or so with that kind of information, and if we can get some guests, we'll continue with other things as we go along. I guess one of the things that I always question, and a lot of people have been asking, especially in light of some of the things that have been going on in the past few months with where do people go with issues, and I'd like to develop that in the future. You know, if I have this issue, do I go to the town council? Do I go to the town manager? Do I go to the Economic Development Commission? So I think the first thing, maybe we won't get into all of that tonight, but the difference between, because our town is obviously different than most. I say that with love and affection. Mm-hmm. What's the difference between the responsibilities and what the town council does and what the town manager does?
Well, primarily, the town council is the financial board in town, and we also set policy. And then the offshoots that I think you're talking about, planning and zoning or inland wetlands, we have economic development, park and rec commission. So there are different branches of government in our town. The town council, being the highest body, oversees a lot of these boards and commissions. The town manager runs the day-to-day operations in our town. Everyone on the town council, including myself, are total volunteers. And, you know, we live in town, most of us. We're brought up here. I personally was raised and brought up here all my life, and I thought I'd give back to my community. And it's important. You know, for instance, yesterday, approximately 2 o'clock, 1:45, we had a power outage.
It was 2:11.
2:11.
Because it was my house.
Okay. And it was a holiday. And town hall's closed. Our schools are closed. I was concerned because we have many residents in town that didn't have heat. You know, with no electricity, you have no heat. Town hall's closed. Where do you call? What do you do? And I did get on the phone and call the town manager immediately. We made phone calls to UI, and luckily we were up and running within an hour and a half. But I still have concerns because in the future I'd like to have a plan in place, because that could have been, you know, more catastrophic than it was.
Well, yeah, I didn't have cable, so I was freaking.
Yeah.
It's just like, what do I do now? I can't watch television, and you know, I didn't think about the heat till they started getting cold.
Right.
And then about a half an hour into it, I said, boy, I'm awful cold now. Now what do we do? But normally, do people would people, if they have an issue, would they call the town manager's office first and get direction from him? Not just on a storm, but, I have an issue, I don't know, they're building the TV, what are those towers that they talk about, and they want to build it next to my house, and I'm not happy.
Sure.
I'm not saying that's an
Right.
issue right now, but if
Right.
that's an issue, do I call you? Do I first call the town manager and have him direct me to the council or the commission that I'm supposed to go to?
And that's a very good question. I always direct people to the town manager first, as he is paid to run our town. However, I do field a lot of calls, and so does everyone on the town council. You're at the grocery store, someone will come up to me and say, gee, I heard a rumor that they may be putting a cell tower up in, I don't know, such and such a neighborhood, and it concerns me. I don't want it there. What do I do? And, I would say to them, well, start by calling the town manager. However, I would go to a planning and zoning meeting because that's where it would ultimately be heard. And I think what notification is very important and communication. But I would definitely, yes, start with the town manager. And if you don't get results, I would like to hear about it.
Yeah, or someone on the town council. And
Right.
leading into that, the question is the difference between, you're not like the president where you have veto power over anything.
No.
The difference between you and the other 8 council members.
I'm the chairman of the board, if you will. I am one vote.
Frank Sinatra.
Exactly. But primarily, I have no more power or, I'm one vote on a council. I serve with 8 other individuals. I basically run the meeting. And, I'm, called the mayor, which is an honor. But I do think in our town, they should probably change it to chairman of the board, actually. Because I think in some instances people think the mayor has more clout or more because of the title and because you're called the mayor.
Well, the way it's run, because
Right.
most towns, the mayor is the guy that
Correct.
you go. But you basically set the agendas for the meetings.
Correct.
And you get a vote just like everybody else. So
Correct.
you don't have any,
And-
superpowers that
No.
you can say, okay, I'll decide this, and
Right.
Everybody's in trouble because we're going to do A,
Right.
B, and C. It's
No.
9 council members.
Right, and each counselor on the town council can put things on the agenda to discuss. Yes, I do have the responsibility of doing the agenda. I do have the authority to remove or put things on the agenda. But we have a very good working relationship with everyone on the council, so, we put things on the agenda that.
And then the commission's answer to the council. The council, another clarification, and I know I may be getting off, but I do that all the time. The council does not appoint. The council approves of commissioners on certain commissions. But isn't it the parties, the Democratic Town Committee
Correct.
and the Republican Town Committee, who appoint the commissioners of different commissions,
That's-
and then they do have to get voted in by the council.
Correct.
But they're the ones who come to the council and say, okay, we've got 2 openings for Democrats on the
Correct.
Park Rec Commission, and
Right.
we're going to recommend these people, and then the council
Yes.
puts the seal of approval on it.
That's exactly right. The RTC and the DTC are set up where they have a chairman of the RTC, a chairman of the DTC, and then you have an executive board, you have a recruiting committee, you have a committee that will interview people, and yes, the RTC will then, let's say there's 2 or 3 people interested in the same board in the same position. They will interview those people. They actually came out with a nice form that people fill out. It's almost like an application, a bio, if you will. And the RTC or DTC then will decide, and there's an actual vote taken, and those names are then given to the town council. The town council does not just pick a name and say, John Smith, we're going to put you on planning and zoning. That's not how it works.
So if you are interested in serving on a board, you have to call your party.
Correct.
But if you don't know who that is, you can call the town
Clerk.
manager, the
Or
town
town
clerk's
clerk.
office, and
Yes.
Lisa Valenti would give you that
Direct you.
information.
And yeah, even if not to interrupt, but even if you're an independent or unaffiliated, you're more than welcome to call and get involved, and you can be appointed to a board or commission by either party, even if you're an independent or
Yeah, because
unaffiliated.
I've served on two different boards in the past 10 years or whatever it is. I don't serve on a board right now, but I've served on two different ones, and I'm an independent.
Yeah.
So it is possible, and they do look for people. So
They're constantly looking for people, and it's. I can say for me, for the last 5.5 or 6 years, it's gotten more difficult to get people to volunteer and to get involved. It does take a lot of time. There is a lot of learning. I mean, I'm still learning after 5.5 years, and I'll continue learning. There's a lot to digest.
Well, that's what it is with the councils. I mentioned I served on two boards, and after a while, you get to the point where it just becomes, it's time-consuming, it's frustrating because you're not getting paid, you're volunteering, and people are stopping in on your street, they're coming to your house, you're mowing the lawn, they're stopping you to ask. And I served on two, I don't want to say menial boards, but they weren't boards that are making major decisions on our town,
Right.
and it's just frustrating. But anyway, I think that would help us with economic development with people who volunteer,
Yep.
which is what we want to talk a little bit about. During this interview, what do we have in plans for the 2005? We sort of look at this as the state of the town meeting at the beginning of the year. What do we have planned for 2015 and beyond?
I mean, I'll start with, I think, a few of the, capital projects, we call them, that we have. We are looking at putting a roof on the school up in Northford, Totoket Valley. And as you know, most of our schools have flat roofs. We've continually had problems with flat roofs. We are actually looking at putting a pitched roof on this building. And in the long run, I think will save us money. Up front, it's going to cost a little more. That school was designed to have a second floor, and I don't think we'll ever be putting a second floor on that building. So it is feasible. We have architects right now and an RFP being done to put the pitched roof. Thankfully, it was streamlined in Hartford. There was a little log jam up there, but we need to get it done, the paperwork and whatnot, very soon so that we can get going and be ready for when school opens. We're also looking at repairing our tennis courts down here by the intermediate schools, and a lot of the ball fields that need repair. We do have some clay that was donated to our town, and hopefully that can be used to help repair some of our baseball fields. And the high school is working on new bathrooms, which will be, I think, a plus. And right now, we do have the Route 80 corridor where we just closed Wallfield and moved it up the road here, which has been going on, as you and I spoke many times since your son was
12. He's 25 now.
Right.
They finally did close Wallfield.
Right. So we've had the studies done by Yale. They came up with 3 different scenarios, and we had 2 charrettes where people in town came. We had a wonderful turnout. People had many great ideas, and surprisingly, to me, I'm hearing a lot of people saying they want open space, and we had a park there already, a ballpark, and I do think we need to get this into an economic structure that will bring tax dollars into our town, and I think it could be done where we get the best of both worlds, where we still have some open space, but yet we do have some type of business that will bring in tax dollars.
I mean, and again, it's just my opinion. I'm all for open space, but it seems to me that that's a prime real estate spot for taxes, for us to get taxes, keep our personal taxes down or even, and be able to. I mean, that's one of the problems we've discussed it on this show. I've discussed it with you. I think I've discussed it with Paulus and previous town managers. One of the problems we have is we don't have the corridors of businesses like they do in, say, a Guilford, where they have,
Right.
or a Branford, where they have the center and the green and all kinds of stores
Right.
that are bringing in taxes. We just
We don't have
and as a town, our residents fight that a lot, and maybe I'm not sympathetic to that because I didn't grow up in North Branford, and a lot of the residents who did. We can't survive as a 100% farm town. I mean, I love the fact that we're a farm town, which is why I moved here.
Sure.
But we need to bring businesses in, and that space there is just perfect. So next month, the month after, when's that gonna?
Well, we actually are going out for an RFP right now, a request for proposal. And I agree with you, and I, again, am sympathetic to people that want open space. However, I look at the Swycheck property down the road where we hold the Potato Festival.
Mm-hmm.
And we have, I can't even remember how many acres there. That, to me, we should start out by putting a Christmas tree there and a nice big 40-footer, and perhaps start using that as our central open space. Perhaps instead, we rent tents every year, the large tent for the Potato Festival. Perhaps we can build a gazebo, and you can make it so each year you can add on to that gazebo and make it an area where people can congregate and go to as the center of our community. We have one ball field that was put in. My understanding is from the plans, there's a possibility of a football field being put in down there. Possibility lacrosse. There is a lot of land. I think we should start looking at this and coming up. We have a habit. We did, studies years ago before I was on the council, a facility study, but yet we didn't move forward with it. I think we need to look at that study. I don't think we should spend more money on another study. I think we should look at the one we have and, to have open dialogue with the superintendent, with the town manager, and see their thoughts, if they agree with that study or what changes maybe they want to make to it.
Well, that's what sometimes scares me about the commissions and stuff that we have, because you'll talk to people and you'll say, okay, well, you're on such and such a commission, and why, we discussed this 10 years ago, and they'll say to me, well, it's different now because we have this commission and we've got people who want to do it. Well, as soon as they say that, I'm thinking, okay, the people who were on it 10 years ago didn't want to do it. And then I look down the road, and then 2 months later, I call that individual, or I'll call you, and you'll say, oh, they're not on the commission anymore. They resigned. And it's like they come in, and I don't know if that's a fault with our system or a fault with something, but they come in and they're going to move mountains, and the next thing you know is they're gone. And now somebody else starts over. I know 10 years ago, maybe less than that, the history, the dates don't matter, but all of those fields, the farms that are being farmed right now from Mill Road on Mill and 22, those were supposed to be, at one point, they were supposed to build 3 or 4 all-purpose fields on that farm for not only the town, but for the high school, who has, a baseball field where they have the soccer players practicing in the outfield, because we don't have enough fields not only for our school, but for our town. And that was suggested in and I don't know if it was a charrette study or if it was some
Right.
other study, but it was in the process of being done, and then all of a sudden,
It's gone.
it fell through cracks,
Right.
and it's not being discussed at all anymore
Right.
that I know of.
Right.
And there we have it, that we don't, and this was 10, 15 years ago.
Right. Well, that's why, I'm hoping, and I do hear people on the town council saying, we need a 5-year plan. I mean, it's great to look out 10 or 15 years, but right now, let's start out with a 5-year plan, because I think that's manageable. I think it's something reality, because like you said, here I am already, it's my 5th or 6th year. Time goes by very
Hey, this would be
quickly.
6th year, right?
Yeah. And, it's a lot of time. I am very dedicated to it. And I know, you can't make everyone happy. And I am sympathetic to other people. When people don't agree with you, that's fine. It's the way you go about it. It's called lobbying. And lobbying doesn't mean going on Facebook and beating people up or writing things. We need to teach our children. And some of the things that have occurred, and I don't want to go down this road, but over the last several months were very disheartening for me, for one. I would rather have a discussion with someone and listen to their point of view, and that is lobbying. When I go to Hartford for this town, if I was to yell or scream at one of the senators or Facebook about him, I don't think that would go over well in the future of trying to get things done for North Branford. But getting back to this White Check property, I really think with in-kind services and some thought, we could lay out and have a wonderful complex. And if you think about it, Public Works is right there. It would save so much money and time taking care of the fields, taking care of our equipment, because everything is right there. It makes a lot of sense to me. Instead of having fields scattered all over town, which you'll still need, but we could have premier fields right there in that little, we'll call it, sports complex.
Yeah, it just seems like there's no continuity, and you have different commissions and commission. Let's say the baseball commission. I'm making this up, but let's say there's a baseball commission and they decide this, and then 3 months later, 2 people on the baseball commission decide that they're not happy, so they leave the baseball commission. You put 2 new people on the commission, and they say, no, we're not going to do this anymore. There's nothing in place to say, okay, this is what's been decided, or to bring it back to the people and say to the people, this is what we want to do. And then once they vote, okay, that's a great idea, let's do it, then the next commission or the next council can't go back and say, well, we're not going to do this anymore, we just changed our mind. Again, I'm not an expert in this field, but it just seems that we make a decision, then we don't make a decision. We're going to do this, then we're not going to do this. We're going to put fields on that spot. We're going to make commercial properties out of the old wall field so we can get revenue. Now maybe we're not going to do that. Maybe we're going to have people come in and say, okay, maybe we can use it for open space. Maybe we can do this. Somewhere along, somebody's got to tick somebody off and come up with a decision, and whether it's brought to the people and the people say, okay, here's your 2 options. We're going to do this, this, and that. Mm-hmm. And we need a vote on it, and have the vote maybe at the elections, because it always seems that those votes that we have that aren't, right. I don't know what they call
the
them.
referendum.
Yeah, the referendum. Only the people who are ticked off show up.
Right.
The rest of the people just figure, let it go,
Right.
and we don't get a good judgment on what the people are really thinking. Maybe do it at the election time because they're already at the polls, and I don't know. I don't know the answer, but
well, that's why I'm thinking a 5-year window, because I've been like you watching, and it seems that people stay on these boards and commissions roughly 5 years, and if we come up with a good solid plan, invest in the capital improvement, I think we can get it done. I mean, I've seen it happen with the roof projects and the FRC building. It basically takes, there was a group of committed people that FRC building, I was on that committee, and there was a lot of great people, and it got done. And it got done in a short period of time, on pretty much on budget. I believe we can do these other things. I mean, a football field, what are we talking? Grading a piece of property and planting grass. I think it's just a matter, like you said, not being afraid to make a decision. We can't make everyone happy. Of course, you want to make a majority of the people happy in town, but you do need to move forward. There are going to be some people that don't agree, but unfortunately, we have to try to please the most people that we can, and utilize. We spent, I don't even know how much. It was before I was on the council. We spent a lot of money buying all that land and took it off the tax rolls. I think it's time for the people of North Branford to enjoy and be able to use that property.
Well, we do use it once a year for a potato festival. That doesn't make us any money, but I'm not going to get into that because I get in trouble. We got a few minutes left. Just as far as the budget goes, I know we were talking about different things that we need to have to spend money on. What have we done briefly to save money?
To save money, we are looking at going self-insured. And this, I believe, is going to be a great move for North Branford for years to come. We are working with H.D. Seeger, which is our present company that represents us, through Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield. We need to fund it, your risk corridor, the first 3 years, and you have to be very disciplined not to touch that money. The employees of the town, i.e. town and Board of Ed, both need to buy into it together. They will actually be a savings for the employees the first year, but overall it will save the taxpayers $250,000 in the first year alone. Once we get going, I believe after the first 3 years are your most high-risk years. Once that we get through that, hopefully we don't have any, major catastrophic, and we will save money, and it'll be I think a very good move for our town.
Here we go. So we talked about spending money. We talked about saving money. Anything else last minute that you want to just briefly hit? And
I encourage everyone in town to please get involved with the budget. So far a lot of people have come out opposed, to some economic development and different things in town, which, I totally understand and respect. But I would love to see people come out during our budget time and voice their opinion on the budget. It helps me, myself personally, and I'm sure it would help the rest of the council to hear what people would like us to do. Do you want us to go up on the mill rate and provide different services, or do you want to keep our taxes down and continue with this zero type of tax decrease?
Okay, hopefully our viewers have gotten some information out of this, something about town council, something about how we operate, something about what we're doing moving ahead. Again, if you'd like to be on the show, give me a call and we'll try and set something up. I thank our mayor for coming on with me this evening. I thank our director, Michael Valenti. And until next time, be good, be safe.
And be frank.